Alright, let's talk about one of the most powerful tricks that pros abuse in ranked for free RR. Fast flanking and taking risks. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, taking too many risks is bad, but hear me out. There are good times to take risks and bad times, and knowing the difference is what separates the pros from everyone else. Take a look at this clip from Derek when he's pushing out mid. His teammates are literally telling him, you won't do this. I know, it's funny, it's silly. The silly part about this is probably honestly that he's playing Sova. Pushing out mid and flanking out Sova is pretty untraditional, but I mean, every agent still has a gun. So Derek just full sends it up mid. He gets a flank off and he lands a kill. Derek does this a lot though. He also does this while playing Jett. Flanking like this can be really good. Sure, it's risky sometimes, but that risk frequently pays off. Here's the thing for pro players though. Stuff like this is often less common because lurkers are more prominent in high elo. Players know that spreading out and holding map control can be a really effective way to win rounds. But in low elo, players are too lazy. They'll oftentimes just 5-man sight and hope that they win. This is something that you could take advantage of even more in your games. Check this out. Here I am playing Sage on split, literally just running straight through B main for a full flank. In Immortal and below, you could sometimes just run it down mid and get away with it because players are so frequently too lazy to lurk. It's not just about running it down, there are other ways that you can roll the dice too. Let's take a look at how Nats does it. Look at this. Nats isn't just blindly pushing. He calls for his teammates to smoke mid-sight, uses his wall to cut off angles towards U-Haul, and then creates a small pocket for him to clear as he pushes through the smoke. That is a calculated risk. Nats does a lot of lurking when he plays, and when lurking, it's important that you take risks. Could you imagine a timid lurker? Oh my god, they would suck. They wouldn't get anything accomplished. They'd just be baiting their teammates and getting carried. But a lurker who takes good risks and lands kills like this wins games single-handedly. If you're on a save round and your economy is already down bad, that is the perfect time to try something spicy like this. Same goes for those 2v5 situations where you need a hero play to turn things around. On the flip side, when you never want to take these risks is when you've got the numbers advantage. If your team is in a 5v3, there's no reason to try anything crazy. Same goes from when you're already winning the round or when your team has better guns and utility. Play it safe and close out the round. But taking risks is a vital part of the game, and if you're playing too safe all the time, then you're just going to be hard stuck. The important thing to remember is that sometimes these plays don't work out. Like here, same idea, different result. But here's the thing, if you're taking risks at the right time, losing one round is not the end of the world, especially if it's a round that you were likely to lose anyway. So next time you're in a save round or you need to make something happen, don't be afraid to just roll the dice. Run it down mid, push through that smoke, take that fight. You will definitely be thinking this. But none of this really matters if your mechanics aren't consistent. Have you ever heard the term calm aim recently? It's kind of been taking the Valorant community by storm, and it sounds kind of goofy, I know, but it's not really what you think it is. Calm aim is all about teaching you something called tension management and most importantly, proper aiming technique. Aiming is hard, and if you're just winging it, then it can be really difficult to be consistent. If you feel like you're an inconsistent player, chances are your aiming technique just isn't very good. Luckily, we've recently put together a brand new calm aim course over at SkillCapped that will not only teach you proper aiming technique, but will also give you a quick 15-minute routine that you can follow to fix your aim. Once your mechanics are solid, it becomes really easy to climb. So much so that players will say that all that matters below Immortal is aim. Don't just take our word for it though. We're so confident that we'll get you climbing after using our site that we even offer a rank improvement guarantee, meaning that if you don't climb, you don't pay. So if you're looking to actually gain rank this act, be sure to check out our new calm aim course using the link below. And other than that, let's get to our next pro tip. Now we've all been there. You have those teammates who sound like a herd of elephants running around the map. You know the ones I'm talking about, right? But what if I told you that pro players actually use this to their advantage? Check out this clip of Nats. Pay attention to what he does here. His teammate has a sheriff while he's got a phantom. Now what you might expect from Nats here is for him to get up right behind his teammate here and get ready to trade them. But he doesn't do that. Instead, he's going to let them peek into mid and die. And then he baits this guy and he peeks out mid afterwards and he kills the guy in mid who is completely unsuspecting. The thing is here, he doesn't know what this guy is peeking into in mid. Sure, he could be there to trade him, but then he might just die too, and then they're down 2 players. In this situation, he lets the sheriff get the info, and then he can go in and grab the free kill afterwards if it seems safe. This works out well because the enemy is thinking, well, if someone else was there, they would have helped their teammate, right? Nats baited the hell out of his teammate here, and honestly, you should too. Don't take it from me though, take it from Curry.
To care in low elo, you have to bait bum-ass teammates? Yes, pretty much. You have to stay alive, make sure you can close out the rounds. Just think about it. If you're trying to get out of low elo, right? And you think your teammates are bad, and you need to close out and they're not closing out the rounds, you can still have impact without going for the first kill. You just need to trade your teammates who die. So the teammates that don't know how to shoot their guns, you just trade them by killing people that kill them. And then you're alive, but you also get kills and you also have impact.
Don't get me wrong, there are ways that you can bait your teammates that aren't going to upset them. Here's my favorite way to use it. You're sitting on site with your teammate and you're worried about lurk. I know, we said earlier they're not common, but people do lurk on occasion. And you're sitting around and your teammate suddenly starts making a ton of noise as they're sprinting away to rotate. Now, instead of just immediately rotating with them, just hold the angle for a second. Wait to see if that lurker tries to creep up after hearing your teammate run away. The best part about this trick is that it works way more often than you'd expect. People get tunnel vision when they hear those footsteps. They're so focused on catching that rotating player that they completely forgot that somebody else might still be holding the angle. Remember, just like Curry says, sometimes you need to let your teammates create those opportunities. They might have no idea what they're doing, but you can know how to take advantage of them, and that's what matters the most when it comes to climbing. Moving on to tip number 3, look, we've all been there. You're holding a site and suddenly it feels like the entire team is just running you down. You've got a jet dashing in your face and a raise satcheling through the air, and it feels completely overwhelming. But here's the thing. Pros know a secret about these aggressive pushes that you need to understand. In ranked, especially in lower elos, there's one massive mistake that aggressive teams make. Their utility is just straight up bad. These duelists, they're running way ahead of the utility that is intended to support them. They're basically serving themselves up on a silver platter. Take a look at this clip from Derek right here. He's not doing anything fancy here, he's just holding an angle. The enemy walks into his slow and tries to push right through it. And what happens next is exactly what you'd expect when somebody tries to push through a slow with no utility to help them. Here's another perfect example from Zekken. He's playing Neon with an outlaw, and watch this. These players are literally running out with their knives out. They're so confident and eager to cross this angle that they're not even ready for a fight. They're playing really sloppy. And why? Because they're not using any utility at all. Think about it. If they wanted to make this safe, what could they have done? They could have used a Cypher Cage, a Jet Smoke, even a Sova Dart to force Zekken off the angle. But nope, they just full send it and get punished hard. Here's what makes this trick so powerful. You don't need to overcomplicate things. If you notice the enemy team is getting sloppy with their utility, just hold an angle and let them run into your crosshair. Grab an Operator, an Outlaw, or even a Marshal and pick an off angle. Or even just pick a standard angle to post up on. Sometimes the simplest play is the strongest play. It doesn't even need to be a sniper. You'll just find that it's easiest with these weapons. But you can do this with a Sheriff, a rifle, or even a shotgun. It doesn't really matter, they're dry swinging you. Just let them and don't panic. And if you're still afraid to do this alone, get a friend or anyone else in the lobby to post up with you. One of my favorite places to do this is on A Site Abyss. Look at how many off angles you can play right here in the entrance. This is horrible to peek into dry. Imagine having 2 people holding this line, you would just get wrecked. If they're not using flashes or other utility to get past these angles, I can't stress this enough, do this. All right, let's move on to number 4, and we're gonna talk about something that is absolutely crushing it in ranked right now, stall agents. Now I know what you're thinking, but what about all these pro teams who are running Cypher and Killjoy for map control? Here's the thing, ranked is a completely different beast. In competitive play, especially in lower elos, teams have a bad habit. They love to stick together, group up, and just send it. I know, we've talked about this a lot, but this is exactly why agents like Phoenix, Sage, and Brimstone are absolutely dominating in ranked right now. Think about it. In pro play, teams are coordinated. They spread out, they bait utility, they'll take their time. But in ranked, people are lazy. They just want to rush in, get their kills, and get out. And that's where these stall agents become absolutely broken. Look at how pros play Brimstone in ranked. They're sitting there, molly in hand, just waiting. The second they hear those footsteps, that molly is coming out, and suddenly that 5-man rush is stuck. They either back off and waste their time or push through and take a ton of damage. Either way, you've already won. And Sage is the queen of stalling. She's especially cracked right now after her buffs. A 7 orb res is absolutely nuts in rank. She has some of the strongest stall in the game, and she can bring teammates back to life pretty frequently. You don't need tripwires in rank, but having a hard stopping power is incredibly valuable. Here's what makes these agents so powerful in rank. When the enemy team is rushing you, you don't need to land that perfect shot. You just need something to break their momentum. One well-placed wall, one good molly, that's all it takes. While they're trying to figure out what to do, your team is already rotating. You've taken mid control. You've rotated over towards site. Smokes are down, and the enemy team is left wondering, do we rotate? Do we reclear flank? What do we do? It just becomes really uncomfortable for them, and that is why this is so strong. And for our final trick, we are talking about something that the pros have been abusing for years that most players still haven't caught on to. I'm talking about fast rotates, and trust me, this is going to change how you play defense. Blah, 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 something about teams wanting to 5-man a lot in rank. I know, we've already talked about this, it's just how ranked works. There are more ways than you could imagine to abuse these tendencies. And one of the most simple but powerful counters to this is instantly rotating. The second that pro players hear noises, oftentimes they will just instantly start rotating. Now I know what you're thinking, but what if it's a fake? And that's the beautiful part about this trick. See, even if the enemy team starts trying to punish your fast rotates by selling fakes or sending lurkers, you're still in a great position. Why? Because when you rotate early, you get to do it as a team. Worst case scenario is generally that you rotate over, you end up having to play retake, and then honestly, that's not even that bad. A coordinated retake is way better than having 2 of your players caught on site while the enemy team executes. However, something that the pros do to make this even more reliable is they will gather information on the mains at the start of every round in a couple of different ways. Take Ascent for example. You dart B main, and then you have somebody peek A main. Oh, we have 3 people A main. Dart didn't tag anything. It's probably A. You can figure out all of this within the first 2 seconds of the round. That's what's crazy about this. You're taking a minor risk like we mentioned earlier with a potentially great reward. This allows you to always be at the action. Oh, you're not playing on Ascent? You're playing on Abyss instead? All right, you peek A main, dart down mid, and have somebody holding the B line. Don't see anything A or mid, it's gotta be B. Sure, there are ways if a team is patient to take advantage of this, but as we discussed, as long as you're safe, all that really matters is that you end up in a retake. And how patient are people really? Normally not very. And if you're not very patient, then let me tell you, we can help you start ranking up today. As mentioned with our brand new Calm Aim course, we will teach you everything that you need to know about how aiming has developed over the last 10 years. We'll teach you the established proper technique that aim pros use to maximize their accuracy and with far less. Aiming can feel so hard at times, but we'll help make it stupid simple and get you ranking up in no time or your money back. Don't forget that site subscribers also get direct access to our coaches in the Discord, so you can get personalized feedback just for you. Nobody understands how to climb out of low elo more than us, so if you're looking to rank up, be sure to check out SkillCapped using the link below. And other than that, my name is Casey, and I'll catch you in the next one.